That's right, folks, it's not over yet. More Fallout 76 to cover because Bethesda never changes. Real quick though, an update on the previous story I covered in regards to this game involving Bethesda attempting to fix this bug where weapons with the plus 250 damage resistance on reload legendary effect would also make all the other legendary effects on that weapon disappear when you reloaded your weapon. In their attempt to fix that, what they introduced was other issues involving reloading causing armor legendary effects to disappear. I covered all of this in a previous video, but basically in their attempt to fix a bug, they introduced way more issues than the patch was worth. So here is how Bethesda responded to that. An update on patch 16. Following the release of update 16 earlier this week, we began receiving community reports that effects granted by armor were being disabled after reloading. We have been actively investigating this issue and have confirmed it is related to a fix that we included in update 16 to address an issue with the plus 250 damage resistance while reloading, plus 250 damage resistance bug, legendary effect. Getting this resolved is a priority for us, and the fastest way for us to address it is to roll back the fix for the plus 250 DR bug. We are currently planning to do this as soon as possible, so keep an eye on the Fallout 76 forums and the Fallout Twitter for more details as soon as they are available. Additionally, it's still important to us to fix the plus 250 DR bug, but we want to make sure that fix completely addresses the issue and does not introduce anything new. Shouldn't you have done that before you put the patch out there? We're currently aiming to fix this prior to Wastelanders, and we will let you know as soon as we have more concrete details to share. They're basically rolling things back because the patch was so broken. Classic Bethesda story. Now on to today's news. As if that wasn't bad enough, things are only getting worse for Fallout 76 as hackers and players continue to find new ways to exploit a game with a rocky foundation, with bones that just are so antiquated that players are able to exploit this game to a level that is unprecedented. So here's an article by Kotaku that covered this story. The headline reads, "Hackers find way to add NPCs to Fallout 76." Now this is just scratching the surface. Hackers have managed to do way more than that. Here's an excerpt that reads, on December 14th, during Fallout 76's free weekend event, unknowncheats.me forum user ErectBan released a series of cheat scripts they wrote for the game on PC, allowing players to spawn weapons, armor, and other objects into the game. That's right, it's not just NPCs, but also things that will affect gameplay, things like weapons and armor, and all these other things that, if players exploit, will really throw the game off balance. This release will most likely be hotfixed instantly, they wrote. Use the free weekend accounts to spawn containers, items, and create legendary equipment. After you create your items, store them on a mule account. Do this at your own risk. So the reason I highlighted free weekend here is because the timing of this hacking couldn't be worse. The free weekend allows players to create free accounts by just using a separate email, and hackers can use these free Fallout 76 accounts as mule accounts to do the hacking so that their main account doesn't get banned, so that their primary account doesn't get touched by ban waves or anything of the sort. So the free weekend event makes the hacking that much worse. It makes duping that much easier. It makes it so much more convenient for hackers to be able to get away with this stuff undetected. And then beyond NPCs, weapons, armors, items, and resources, hackers have also been able to spawn in assets from Fallout 4 that are still in the Fallout 76 engine. So here's Kotaku's reporting on that. Last week, a player reported seeing the Prydwen, the Brotherhood of Steel airship from Bethesda's 2015 role-playing game Fallout 4, floating in the skies above Fallout 76's White Springs Resort, likely as a result of the new hack. There's actually a video up that shows this happening. This is Fallout 76, not Fallout 4, and this individual just managed to find this thing floating in the air, likely as a result of this hack that allows hackers to summon anything, any kind of asset that's in the Fallout 76 engine. This is kind of hilarious, but obviously not ideal when you consider that gameplay affecting items that can break the balance of the game and the level playing field can also be spawned in. Kotaku then talked more about hackers' ability to spawn in NPCs to the game, stating the following. Now players have also managed to add NPCs to the game. In an email to Kotaku, Reddit user The Gemini with the Fallout 76 group Dupers Are Us shared video footage of them and a friend playing with Brotherhood of Steel soldiers, Queen Scorch Beasts, and human NPCs they themselves had created. And then here's a quote from the Gemini. Their functionality is actually incredibly high. They will wander around your camp while idle, and in combat, they will relentlessly chase their opponent, taking cover and retreating when necessary. So these NPCs can be used to your advantage. They can be used to create your own armada to fend off enemies or other players. In fact, you can read right here, according to Kotaku, that hackers are able to make NPCs act like companions, protecting the player against anyone who might do them harm. The Gemini did highlight that there are a few limitations, though, stating they spawn without clothes and some without weapons. The sounds of the weapons they fire are sometimes replaced by the sound of turret gunfire, and they cannot leave your camp unless it's to hunt down an enemy. And then Kotaku added, but the Gemini is still working on improving the NPC's functionality, at least until Bethesda finds a way to block the hacks. So these NPCs are still relatively primitive, but these hackers can achieve anything given the time to do it. You never know what kinds of new functionalities they might add to these NPCs, so Bethesda has to plug this hole before the situation grows much worse, before the crack eventually spreads so much that it breaks the entire dam. This is a pretty serious situation that can ruin the gameplay experience for other players who are playing this game fairly. So right here, Kotaku talks about how the cheats can be used to potentially cause chaos in fights or ruin Fallout 76's competitive battle royale mode. And on Reddit, you can actually find people expressing frustration at their own encounters with hackers or hacked items. So this one user in particular is pleading Bethesda to invest in a better anti-cheat system while citing the following. Met a group of 4 with cheat item hacks activated and had ridiculous rare items and items not even possible. The people who had items like Sun Mask, Jester, Goblin, a gun that shot confetti, fire explosive plasma, like the animation was fire and explosives, etc. Well, all nice people, but I reported them anyways. And then in the comments section here, one Reddit poster highlights what the core issue is with Fallout 76 and why it's so easily exploitable. One excerpt in this long post reads, "The problem is not only did they use a shitty outdated engine with publicly available modding tools, not only did they establish a precedent of letting cheaters off the hook with not even a slap on the wrist, but they don't have any realistic measure for dealing with something this catastrophic within the game." Couldn't have said it better myself. The rotten bones of this game's engine allows hackers to do all sorts of crazy things, and Bethesda just doesn't have the infrastructure in place. Bethesda just can't deal with the amount of hacking and duping and exploiting that's taking place in their own game, in their own backyard. To finish things off, here's a video by YouTuber Juicehead that further highlights the ridiculousness of this whole situation of hackers just exploiting the hell out of Fallout 76. So this right here is a screenshot showing a hacker who spawned in the nuclear explosion effect. Just place that in the world just for funsies because they can. And then right here, we have an example of a hacker who spawned in a bunch of Scorch Beast Queens. You can see that there are 2 of them right here in an area where they shouldn't be. Hackers are also able to summon NPCs like this alien and Preston Garvey, because why the hell not? Preston Garvey is, of course, an NPC from Fallout 4, but perhaps worst of all are screenshots showing things like this. The ability for a hacker to spawn in a container containing plans for the various items and weapons in the game. And then here's another container that has a bunch of resources, a bunch of junk items. And this container was created because of a previous occasion in which many players lost a bunch of junk items. So this is something that Bethesda gave out. But now that it's a part of the game's assets, the hackers can just summon this. They can spawn this in and exploit that to essentially have infinite resources. And where things go from bad to worse is hackers' ability to spawn in legendary weapons and armor, which are very powerful and which they can sell off if they want or use it themselves to have an edge in the game. And duping has been a major issue with Fallout 76, and that's what's allowed this whole economy of gun running to permeate. Essentially, players who hack the game and are able to get a hold of duplicates of these valuable weapons and armor, powerful weapons and armor, they sell them off to people who are willing to pay on eBay and other third-party websites. And this is something obviously Bethesda doesn't want, something that the company discourages, but it's a situation that's run so rampant that Bethesda's unable to stop this. And now with hackers' ability to summon all these legendaries and with their ability to create infinite mule accounts during the free weekend, this is just, this is as bad as it gets. And not only can they spawn in legendary weapons and armor, they're also able to create their own custom legendaries with custom legendary effects. And that's why we're seeing weapons like this, which have an insane number of legendary effects attached to it. The number of stars indicates how many legendary effects there are on a weapon or armor. This weapon should have 3, but if you look at the item stats, there is a bunch of them here, and you can see all these legendary effects listed out. The maximum, if you obtain a weapon legitimately, is, I believe, 3. A weapon or armor should normally be able to have up to 3 legendary effects, but we're seeing insane stuff like this that hackers can just create and distribute, sell, or use themselves. And then the cherry on top to this whole hacking situation is that it's taking place during the holidays, during a time when a lot of Bethesda employees are going to go on break. I don't know if Bethesda, seeing this hacking, is going to put together an emergency patch that will help mitigate this exploit, or if they're just going to go on break and let this fester for a whole month, for a couple weeks, before they come back and fix this. But by then, this issue will have run rampant enough that we're going to see a bunch of crazy, ridiculous weapons and armor and messed up stuff in the world as a result of this hack. And this has also happened before, where somebody found some exploit to duplicate items, Bethesda went on break, and then the duplication ran rampant, and here we are. I don't know. Who knows what the future holds for Fallout 76? A game that Bethesda continues to stubbornly support, but does so very poorly. Things seem to be crumbling faster than Bethesda can patch up and duct tape and fix and put back together. Anyway, I've said all there is to say about this situation. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the latest Fallout 76 shenanigan with hackers managing to find a way to spawn whatever they want, any asset essentially, into the game willy-nilly. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.